So I just got back from a big trip in the UK. It's really cool, quite busy, and it just made me think about some stuff that I've been talking to others about, just coping with pressure and the stress. If you're a point person and you're leading an organisation, you've got this cause that you're promoting. For many of us, as it gets more successful, the kind of pressure builds, responsibility for others, responsibility for making sure everything goes well. Sometimes you can feel like you're on the edge, on the verge of a breakthrough, but at the same time you kind of feel like you're on the verge of a disaster at the same time. So yeah, just people speaking about, how they cope with stuff, or the fact that they don't cope, is some of the conversations I've been having recently with people. And yet over the last 20 odd years, even though things with our organisation have grown, I kind of feel healthier now than before, if I'm honest. And I think it's partly because of a principle I learned that I'd like to share with you. So this is from a series I teach to leaders called the SAD Factor. I'm a trained scuba diver, so when I was in the UK, before I moved to Texas, I trained and I absolutely love scuba diving. It's cool. And one of the things I notice is the deeper you go, the bigger the pressure. So water is quite heavy, and the deeper you go, the pressure builds on you, and you become less mobile. And eventually what happens is that you can be in a situation where you can get so deep that you need a submarine, and when that submarine gets deeper, eventually it needs a thicker skin, as it were. Eventually it just implodes. You put enough pressure on a submarine, and suddenly, just like people, it just implodes. So, but as I go deeper, one of the things I've noticed is, even though I feel bulkier, there are fish that just come up to your mask and swim around, look at you, and then dart away. It kind of freaks you out sometimes. And they're so flexible, and they're so just find it so easy, I guess, and they just swim through water like it's just air. And I wonder how. And I realise that even though they don't have a thicker skin, what they've done is, with a fish, the pressure inside the fish is equal to the pressure outside of the fish. And I think that's a great way to think about dealing with responsibility and dealing with the pressure of leading something. So I think you have to be really specific about it as well. I think you've got to think through, how does that work? So if it's mental pressure, you're teaching a lot or speaking a lot, then what I've realised, I have to spend even more time reading and watching and listening. If it's emotional pressure or relational pressure, I have to spend more time building good relationships that look after me, rather than just relationships where I'm looking after others. If it's spiritual pressure, I need to make sure that spiritually I'm healthy. Wherever the pressure is, and maybe that's helpful for you, is that it's hopeless just trying to build a thicker skin like many people do, because eventually you'll implode. So do you and do I spend as much time as thinking about our organisations, thinking about ourselves? Do we spend as much time strategizing as we do for our organisations as we do for ourselves? And are we specific? Do we look at those specific areas? Just something to think about, and something I'd encourage you with. It's been helpful to me, hopefully it'll be helpful to you. Okay, bye.